Hi everyone, it's Matt. I'm here with my personal coaching student, Orion. Orion has been doing coaching with me for about 3 to 4 months and he's made tremendous progress. And we thought we'd just do an interview and just talk to Orion, get his story, and just find out all the things he's learned so that he can basically convey all his new knowledge to you. So, how you doing, Orion?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you, Matt?
Yep, really well. We actually just had a coaching session and made some good progress with the hip flexors. So I was very glad to see that. So,
Yeah.
Orion, why don't you tell me what your situation was with pain in your body, uh, up until about 3 to 4 months ago?
Probably the better question is what the situation wasn't with pain, but I, I had, yes, I had pain, but I had muscles spontaneously tearing, medically verified. Um, Not all the time, but frequently, and they would injure, and I had all these different physio exercises to do. I spent hours daily for decades rehabbing, and sometimes I'd make progress, but recently I was just going downhill despite all my rehab. And um, I was trying some isometrics, and they were helping for a while, and then my intercostal muscles started getting injured, and then I couldn't do them anymore. And this was right when I started working with Matt. My body was like, checkmate.
Right.
Yeah, so
Decades of pain, right?
yeah, since 1990, uh, actually, yeah, since 1994,
All
I've
right.
been
20
going
years
through
chronic
the,
pain.
yeah, I think that's 30.
Yeah, that is 30. Your math is impressive.
Well, I remember it being 30 trips around the sun, so
Radio. And
gives
yeah,
my age away a little bit.
I remember that when we started to talk by email just before coaching, you were saying you would just get injured all the time.
Everywhere. Ribs, shoulders, neck. I had diagnosed a double whiplash, one vertebra one way, the other way. And but also I had a number of, you know, like a number of spontaneous injuries where ligaments would spontaneously tear and there would be like hemorrhaging and so on. I woke up one morning, both medial knee ligaments were partially torn, MRI verified, and I could hardly walk. And
Okay.
that's how I woke up in the morning.
Radio.
I had done a strenuous hike 2 weeks earlier and was celebrating that whole 2 weeks at how, wow, I got away with it. And no, I didn't. And, but yeah, and so there was lots of pain. But I could tolerate the pain. It's that when the pain meant that I might tear something, it created a real phobia. I don't know what else to call it. I was frankly terrified of my body now for 30 years.
Right. I
And
recall that. Yeah, this fear of the body. Now, if I
just
can ask you,
always, yeah.
did you first encounter the back pain miracle course? Is that where you first started with my stuff?
Yes. I had bought a course called Steel Ligaments or something from this ninja type guy, and it was more advanced than I could tolerate. But he was sending out different forwards, and he sent out the back pain miracle thing, and it didn't look like maybe it was exactly relevant for me, but I was always curious and looking, and maybe there's something I could extrapolate to my own situation, and then I found that it was difficult for me to even do the simple back pain miracle exercises. And so I remember reaching out
Mm.
At first, I thought it must not be you. It's somebody pretending to be you, because no one answers their emails. And um, and when you offered to coach, I was ecstatic because there was the isometrics guy. I asked him if he would coach me, and I wasn't getting him, and they stopped even answering me. I guess I was too much for them or something. I don't know. Too much
Okay.
responsibility.
So ideally, you would have got results from the Back Pain Miracle, and it does get other people results. But okay, you reached a block there. You reached out to me, and we started working together, just doing these one-on-one sessions. Now you had some
Yeah.
pretty quick. You've made good progress and quick progress. Do you want to tell us about like just some of the early realizations you had about what pain is, how pain was working for you, and how you started to get through it?
Well, the first thing I remember doing with you, well, actually, there was one week and I had the back of my neck was like a brick. I don't know
Mm,
if you remember that.
I do.
And we were just doing some gentle movements, and I just didn't seem to be getting anywhere. And the next week, I remember laughing so much because you had me holding my arms out like this.
Right.
And and we stood there for like an hour or something,
Yeah.
and started shaking and so on, and you were saying it's important to just stay in that position and let because it's loosening up muscles, and I've used that an awful lot. Like, this muscle is more pliable than Play-Doh right now. It's just
Oh, really?
so
I wasn't even aware that you'd had made so much progress there.
Yeah, well, I did it religiously for a while, but I found it was like really exhausting. It was depleting my electrolytes a lot. I had to drink a lot of warm salt water, just lightly salted water, and then I found that it helped. So lately, I just do it once in a while. Like, I've been able to, because I no longer, within 2 days of starting those, it was like, what intercostal muscle injuries?
Right.
There was pain, but it wasn't stopping me from doing anything, as opposed to
Right.
months and months of painstaking, fruitless, patient
Hmm.
physio.
Hmm.
Months and months and months, and sometimes going backwards. 2 days, okay, well, that was that. and and our work has been a lot like that. It's been such a blur. It's been 3 months, and we've covered so many things, and I don't even remember them all. Like, I sent you at the beginning, I sent you a list of all the injuries I'd had, just, to give you
Oh,
an idea. And
terrible.
I
Yeah.
didn't even catch it all. Writing it down. It's too many things I can't remember. And but yeah, let me see. What else did we do?
Well, if I could mention, like, you were having this problem and you could barely move here, right? You'd move and then you'd be like, "Ow!" like this, right? And
Yeah.
we could say that it was because of, oh, you did this magic movement, but I think what we really trained into you was this ability to really notice what was going on and kind of navigate your pain and move consciously.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Well, and I mean, I did I I sort of moderated that initial pose that you
Hmm.
gave me. So like this past week, I had graduated from doing my isometrics with like a ball against the wall for my rotator cuff, and I've been doing um, TheraBand. Is that what they're called?
Okay.
And it's been irritating this arm like quite a bit, and it's like I've developed this ability. Like, I stood up knowing that I was going to do some pose,
Hmm.
and my body knew exactly where to go, and here's where I went, and I couldn't even stay like that. I had to loosen it up, and I could hardly, like, the arms wanted to shake and they couldn't. But it gradually loosened up, and in the span of about 45 minutes, it's like I was going every which direction,
Right.
and my arms were like flapping like birds' wings, and there's still some pain in the arm, but it's completely released whatever
Right.
was bothering me. and
Well, I
and
think the skill, if I can add there, the skill that you gained there was that before you would get this injury, something would happen to you and it would be like, oh, it's painful. And then it would just remain as this chronic injury. But now when you start to feel pain, you're not like, oh no, another chronic injury. You're like, oh, let me use my conscious movement skill. And you're like, oh, there's some movement I can do here that's going to make that better. And you actually
yeah,
come out of that
yeah,
improved. So you take
well,
this as like a stimulus or a
yeah,
catalyst, and you're like, oh,
yeah.
now I'm even better.
Something that was really impactful that you kept saying like a mantra in the beginning, because I was always terrified to injure myself, because that's how many times I've tortured myself. You can't permanently injure yourself, Orion.
Right.
And so it's like literally some of these poses that now I consciously on my own get into that you've never shown me to
Hmm.
feel like I'm in a complete snake bite, and my arms flapping around, releasing who knows what muscles. It knows where to go. It knows what needs to be done, and I don't know. I just follow. But
You follow the sensations and just
yeah,
one step to another. You're like, oh, you just go with it and start noticing things and just move according
yeah,
to your body's instincts, right?
yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, today I was back doing the back pain miracle stuff. And I don't know, we've made so much progress in so many different parts of my body that I found that I was just able to do so much with those exercises that before it's like, oh my God, I was just so inhibited
Mm.
before. I had to use multiple pillows the last time I tried it. And it was like, oh my God, that hurts. I couldn't let my leg go down to the side, my bent leg. It was so tight.
Something we've done often is you would be trying to do some particular exercise and you'd say, I'm trying to do this exercise, but when I'm doing it, I get pain. And
Yeah.
we've really helped you understand this idea of finding intermediate exercises, at a level that you can do that you make
Yeah.
progress. So you always
Yeah.
have a way to actually make progress.
Yes, exactly. And that's an invaluable skill that I've gotten. I'm in the process. I shouldn't say I've gotten. I'm in the process of getting through the coaching, because um like, yeah, even just today, and I was just moving my hip flexors around, and in a way that wasn't pissing them off, but was challenging them, and it was much more conscious. Like, I'm habitually very impatient, and you're helping me. My body is helping me by saying, well, there's no way to be but patient, and to stop and be mindful and conscious about me, us, your body.
Mhm.
And there literally isn't. I just want my results. And it seems like, when we've had breakthroughs, they've just been so quick and so effortless. And then, that I start salivating for that impatience again, but then, you kind of no, okay, we have to get
Let's just
conscious
work where you're
again.
at. Let's not get ahead
Yeah.
of
And
ourselves, right?
yeah, well, and it's like you've said in many of your videos, it's just the fastest way anyways. Because then when I do that, it's like I was amazed just in I don't know how long we spent, maybe 10, 15 minutes doing that conscious movement. And then I extended my hip flexor, and it's like, oh, wow, I got all this freedom there. It's like 10, 15 minutes. Who'd think, I've been trying all kinds of different stuff with it for 2 weeks now,
Well, let me ask you
you
this,
know.
Orion. What would you say is your biggest, like, mental perspective shift? Like, your biggest realization that you look back and you're like, that's how I thought things were back then when I had pain, and that's why I was having so much pain. But now I see things this way, and it's so empowering and just causes pain to go away every day? What would you say?
Well, I mean, there's so many, but for me, just because of the pattern before of it being so easy to be injured and to actually
Hmm.
tear muscles, I used to tell practitioners, no, it feels like I've torn my muscle. Oh, you're not tearing your muscle. They'd poo-poo me, but then, we had medical confirmation sometimes, that's, I mean, that I don't know how to describe it. That's just a vulnerable place to live, not knowing when I was going to tear what.
Hmm.
And there's this almost complete confidence that I really can't hurt myself. And I don't know, it's partly probably some of the releasing that we've done because there were so many emotional and post injury tensions that I was like literally tearing ligaments and so on.
Hmm.
But also the biggest shift has been mental that, oh yeah, I don't have to be afraid. And so, like I
Hmm.
shocked myself even. I was out with these guys and, well, what? So give me an example. And I dropped into a sudden squat.
Hmm.
I really injured myself doing that in the past.
Hmm.
And what was really funny is I did sort of feel kind of injured, but it was a funny injury because all of a sudden I was limping using the other side of my body. And I'm like,
So you
maybe
overdid it a
this is
little bit in an attempt to show your friends something.
something shifted there. And first of all, I'm not injured permanently.
Yeah.
And second of all, there's a shift. And it's
Hmm.
never gone back to the way it was. And I've only
Right.
gotten more comfort. I couldn't even walk comfortably even a month ago because my
Right.
arch was collapsed. My medial knee ligament was just like screaming at me sometimes, and my hip was just weak. Both hips were weak. And I walk. I live across the street from a small mountain, and I go on the steep paths and I limber all the way up and I do it with vigor.
Right.
Like that's just insane. I was doing physio for I don't know, more than a year and making painstaking progress doing ankle exercises, but you can't expect your ankle to hold up your whole damn body when, other muscles could be doing their share.
Right. So I would say to summarize like the shift that you've made, it's that you like anyone who has pain is essentially afraid of doing the movements that will actually fix their pain. Right? So
Yeah.
there's this coating of fear all around all painful tensions, and it's all
Yeah.
preventing you from doing it because you feel like, oh, if I do that, I'm going to get hurt. If I do that, I'm going to get hurt. If I'm going to do that, it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
It's going to get worse. There's a big devaluation of the body, and you've come to
Yeah.
actually, you know, love your body again and
Yeah.
feel good about your body and be confident of your body, your body, you can do this. You can do this. And I
Yeah.
feel like now you're empowered.
Yeah. And I'm still afraid of the pains because, like I got hip pains right now, but it's not like it was before where it's like, okay, something terrible is gonna, could happen here. It's like, well, pretty soon I'll either figure something out myself or I'll see Matt and voila,
Right.
on to the next thing. And then, every shift that I make seems to uncover another layer, which is, I'm really discovering nowadays.
It's a journey.
Yeah, no, and I don't have anywhere near the pain or the discomfort or the fear, like just mentally and physically. My life is like night and day from 3 months ago. I just, almost want to cry how happy I am about it.
That's great to hear.
Um, and I have actually. But um, yeah, it's like now instead of like, okay, what's the biggest fire? It's like, okay, well, there's some embers over here, and we're uncovering another layer, and oh, here's some more embers this week, and and I'm turning around and solving some of my own problems, like this pain in my arm. I
Yeah.
didn't have to talk to Matt at all.
Independence.
Yeah, there's independence that's starting to show up in my life, and
That's
that
excellent.
just yeah, it's hard to even it's hard to even I don't even know what to say about it. It's really yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
congratulations. I mean,
Kind of
you showed a lot of
speechless.
courage. You showed a lot of courage. You brought, your analytical mind. You put yourself to work. Like, you really did everything that it takes to make a massive transformation here. So you should be really proud of yourself in a positive way.
Thank you. Yeah.
Sure. Well, let me ask you this,
Well,
Orion,
and yeah.
if you don't mind. So let's say someone just out there, they got pain. You don't know specifically what pain, but they're in pain. Not necessarily the same situation as you, but they're in pain. What would you say to them is like the key to getting through pain, releasing pain, feeling good again?
I guess it's about consciously exploring your body, and I at this point would not feel confident to turn around and try and coach anyone who's
Sure.
having significant pain, especially pain that I'm unfamiliar with.
But I think you got a good answer anyway. I mean, consciously exploring your body,
Yeah.
like that's the foundation of it all.
I mean, but saying that, I mean, if I came off the street, what are you talking about? And your videos do a really good job of introducing that, and I think, yeah, I got this type A personality, and I think the coaching was really helpful for me to break through some of that impatience, and also, kind of make some quick progress, because I was losing my ability to walk again, and I was losing my ability to do upper body stuff, and in the past, my muscles have always gotten so weak so quickly. I was in a terrified spot when we started, actually.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Like, the way I see the coaching is like, I show you, objectively correct movement, right? I show you good exercises, but B, I eliminate your false beliefs and your disempowering perspectives. Like, I crush those and throw them away. Like, is that how you would see? Is that how you would see this process as well?
I mean, it would be difficult to overstate the difference you've made in my life physically. But at the end of a lot of coaching sessions, I am just shaking my head at the brainwashing I've just gotten.
Yeah. You mean from other people, right?
I mean, I'm using that in the positive sense. I know that brainwashing usually takes torture, and well, my body brings that to the table anyways.
I would say unraveling of brainwashing is what I do.
Cleansing. No,
Right.
no, cleansing sounds bad too. But no, it's just a restructuring, not just of my body, but of my thought patterns, and that occurs to me as having been much larger. Like, if you disappeared, that would be a real disappointment right now, because we're really on a roll. But the way I am right now, and I've got your videos and stuff like that, I'd have tools. And you know what? If you weren't there, it would make me do more of the work and more of the exploration. And sometimes, the universe makes that happen. You're the instructor that you loved so much is no longer there. And maybe you have an instructor still and they're just not clicking. And now you get to do the work, and now you become more independent, but I don't know why I said that, but yeah, I don't remember what your question was now. Sorry. Got off track.
Just talking about the coaching process. Okay, well,
Yeah.
we'll probably leave it there, and I'll just give you one last opportunity if there's any piece of wisdom or advice that you'd like to impart on the audience as the final word.
Hmm. I can't think of anything else at the moment. Thanks for asking. I'm sure I'll kick myself later, but yeah,
Well,
it's been a profound.
I would say that Orion's courage and commitment and dedication is to be modeled, right? That's a huge part of this. Just
I have
to commit
never,
that you want to feel better.
even today, I was feeling depressed because nothing's felt like it was clicking. And then by the end of the day, and I was running short of time, okay, snap out of it, do something. But, I have never, ever given up. I might take a break.
Mm.
I've never, ever given up. Every
Yep.
day, almost every day, I'm at it. I didn't know what to do, but I did my best. And I figured out a lot of things on my own
Hmm.
before I met Matt and made a lot of progress. But I'm just really, really thankful that I discovered you. And
Okay. Well, that's
thank you
great.
so much. Yeah.
Thank you, Orion. Appreciate your time and thanks for making this contribution to the whole community of people trying to, understand all these topics.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay. See you, Orion.